Welcome back. Guilty of murder. That was the verdict in Dallas for former police officer Amber Guyger, who shot and killed her neighbor Botham Jean after entering his apartment by mistake. During the trial's punishment phase, the world bore witness to an extraordinary act of grace delivered by the dead man's brother.
I don't know if this is possible, but can I give her a hug, please?
The jury later sentenced Guyger to 10 years in prison. Panel, and by now, both you and our viewers have heard much of the testimony. Was justice served here? And I'm going to go to Carmen Rowe.
Absolutely. One, keep in mind, all this talk about accident, she admitted to intentionally killing this man. So there's no room for accident in the jury's charge, and there was really no room for them to give any other verdict. But I think as regards to the sentencing, it's important that a lot of people out in the community think that this was too light. And the reason is we have Clara Harris, we have Susan Wright, we have women who were battered, who ultimately killed their husbands. We gave them 20 and 25 to do. This woman got 10. And so a lot of people think that has to do with race. It's definitely lower than what a lot of people thought it was going to be. But I think to keep in mind two other things about this case. One, she will never be a law enforcement officer again. And make no mistake, that's a big deal. And that's what they fought for in this trial. The other thing to keep in mind is what happened inside this courtroom is something that's so powerful and unbelievable. The hug, the embrace, maybe that had to do with the 10. You can't know how palpable that is unless you're there. And what we see and how emotional it is for us to watch it, you just add that, multiply that by 10.
Bob, I know you feel very strongly about this.
Well, the jury spoke on this issue, and I'm going to leave it with that. She was convicted, and she's going to go to jail. The statement by the victim's brother was one of the most powerful things I've ever seen in a courtroom, and I think that probably had more to do with the 10-year sentence than anything else. That was just an unbelievable statement. But, you know, one thing that was odd is the judge had a photograph of the victim on her desk. That's highly inappropriate. She's supposed to be there as an independent arbitrator of what's going on, right and wrong, and what the penalty is going to be for that. It compounded with the tragedy of a key witness in the case being murdered yesterday.
Okay. We're going to continue our conversation on the sentencing of former Dallas cop Amber Guyger. I want to go straight to Michelle Maples. Your thoughts?
Nobody wins. Everybody loses in a murder trial. And like we said last week, she admitted to pulling the trigger. She intentionally pulled the trigger on this individual who was sitting on his couch. And it went to that jury of 12 people to decide that she was guilty and to give her 10 years in prison. And you've got to remember that her future is bleak now because she is a convicted killer, and a poor family does not get to have Thanksgiving with their loved one. And the hug that the brother gave was just this Christ-like forgiveness that I think we all should look up to.
Okay. Laura Moser.
You know, Botham Jean has no future because this woman walked in on him while he was eating ice cream and watching TV and killed him. And I am probably the minority, but I was disturbed and upset by the hug, because what if it had been reversed and a black man had murdered a white woman? Do you think that woman's sibling would go up and hug the person? No, that is not the country we live in, and this just shows the kind of unequal justice that we have for, you know, different rules for different colors of people, and it's sad to me, everything.
Charles Blaine, quickly, leave time for Tony.
I mean, the legal process is completed, but, you know, thinking about it, 10 years, 20 years, 99 years, I don't think anything's really sufficient. If it was my brother, I don't care what the sentence would be, you know, he'd be gone and I'd never have him again. So, you know, it's bad all around. Just to echo thoughts that Michelle said, nobody wins.
Okay, Tony, close us out on this.
It is about race, but it was touching to see the brother rise to that level of grace. I hope I am able to on a daily basis, if ever. And it makes me just think about a lot about, you know, values and sensationalizing things or not. I think we're wiser from his act. His family's torn apart, her family's torn apart. Will they recover? That's all we can hope for. And hopefully justice can be served on a daily basis, but it shows how hard it can be.
Okay, Carmen, do we learn anything out of this whole thing? And real quick.
Yeah, of course. I think we've learned a lot about trials, et cetera. I mean, the fact that this fed live into everybody's rooms, I think we get to talk about race. We get to talk about police officers. We talk about what the victim's mother said so articulately, which is training of law enforcement officers.
Got to leave it there.